So you've probably heard the word Git thrown around, especially if you're anywhere near the world of tech. It can sound pretty intimidating, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out what Git is, right, from square one. If you've ever been confused by it, trust me, you are in the perfect place. Let's dive in.
Okay, so to really get why Git is so important, we have to start with a problem that I absolutely know you've had before. I call it the file naming nightmare. We've all been there. You're working on something important, a school paper, a big report for work, maybe some design files.
And it always starts out so clean, so simple. You have one file, project.docx. Everything feels under control. It's beautiful.
Then, you make a few changes. You think you're done. So you do the classic move. You save a new copy and you call it final. Ah, the sweet, sweet illusion of being finished.
But it's never really final, is it? Your professor has a quick note, or your boss has one last thought, and suddenly you need a version 2. Okay, no big deal. And then, before you know it, your folder is a complete disaster, culminating in this masterpiece of desperation. This file name isn't just a name, it's a cry for help. This is what total file chaos looks like.
And look, this isn't just messy. This is actually dangerous. You make one tiny change in what you think is the latest version, and boom, the whole thing breaks. Or worse, you realize you accidentally deleted a brilliant paragraph from 3 versions ago. Now you're frantically clicking through all these files, trying to figure out which one was the last good one. This exact problem, this chaos, is why a much, much better way was invented. And that solution, that better way, is a concept called version control. It's a system designed specifically to rescue us from that file naming nightmare forever.
So what is it? Well, you can think of a version control system as like a super meticulous historian for your project. Its only job is to watch your files and carefully record every single change that you make, forever.
So what does tracking changes really get you? Well, it means you can see exactly what line of text was added or removed. You can see who made the change and the exact moment when they did it. And here's the absolute magic trick. You can go back in time. You can instantly rewind your entire project to any previous state. You know what? If you've ever used Google Docs and gone into the version history to see what your coworker changed or to restore an old paragraph you deleted, you already understand the basic idea. It's that exact same superpower, but for any type of file on your computer, whether it's code or a design or a manuscript. All right, so version control is the big idea. Now let's meet the tool that actually makes it all happen. Its name is Git. So Git is the actual software. It's the program you install on your computer that does all this amazing tracking. It is by far the most popular and powerful version control system on the planet. Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. Git is a time machine. It gives you a safety net. Did you just delete a massive chunk of your work by accident? No worries, just go back in time 5 minutes. Did you add a new feature that totally broke everything and you can't figure out why? It's fine. Just rewind to the version from yesterday before it even existed. It's incredible. So how does this time machine actually work? Well, another good analogy is a diary. Every time you make a set of changes that you want to save, you make an entry in the diary. In Git, this diary entry is called a commit. It's basically you taking a snapshot of your entire project at that moment and writing a little note about what you did. Okay, let's just quickly bust a few common myths right now. First, Git is not a programming language. It's a tool that helps you manage projects written in any language. Second, it's not a website. You might be thinking of GitHub, which we'll talk about another time, but Git itself runs on your computer. And finally, it is absolutely not just for big teams. Git is a complete game changer, even if you are working all by yourself. And that leads me to a really, really important point. Git works locally, on your machine. The entire history of your project, every single one of those commits, lives right there on your laptop. This means you don't need to be online to save your work, to look at your history, or to travel back in time. So why do people get so excited about this tool? I mean, why is it basically a requirement for any developer job? Let's talk about the real-world benefits that make Git an absolute lifesaver. When you use Git, you get this amazing sense of freedom. You can experiment, try crazy new ideas, and never worry about permanently breaking your project because you can always go back. You get a perfect, crystal clear history of how your project evolved over time.
For teams, it's the only sane way for lots of people to work together without stepping on each other's toes. And maybe most importantly for your career, knowing Git is just not optional anymore. It's a fundamental industry standard skill. And when I say industry standard, I am not exaggerating. This isn't just some niche tool for hobbyists. Let's take a quick look at who's actually using this thing every single day. The short answer is everyone. I mean, literally, the biggest companies in the world, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, they all run on Git. Every hot new startup uses Git. The entire world of open source software is built on Git. Learning it means you're learning to speak the universal language of how modern projects are built. All right, let's do a super quick review of the main vocabulary. Git, that's the tool. Version control, that's the big idea of tracking changes. A repository, or repo for short, that's just a fancy word for a project that Git is tracking. And a commit is one of those snapshots, one of those saved points in your project's history.
So I want to leave you with a question. And forget about code for a second. Just think about whatever it is you create. It could be writing or music or design. How would it change your process if you had a time machine? If you knew you could try anything, totally fearless, because you could always undo any mistake with the click of a button? That's the real power of Git. Thanks for tuning in.